Hello, good morning. We are going to try something a little bit different today. I have made a lot of stuff on this channel over the past few years. Some of it has been a little unusual, but most of it's actually pretty wearable, and I do actually wear a lot of it on a daily basis. There's been a little bit of interest in styling, week of outfits style video. So I thought that it might be kind of fun to challenge myself to do a week of outfits where every day I wear at least one outfit that I have made on this channel. Personally, in my wardrobe, I am just very lucky that I am in mostly creative roles throughout the day, so I have a lot of flexibility with what I can wear, and I definitely take advantage of that. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, which is to kind of plan out the whole week a little bit. I mean, I want to leave some room for spontaneity in there because I feel like your clothes for the day should kind of reflect how you're feeling a little bit. And I don't know that until I wake up in the morning. Yeah, I guess first things first, let's go figure out what to at least wear today. There's like no depth of field in this closet. Here is what I have kind of chosen for this styling exercise. I guess that's what we're calling it. In no particular order, well, in some particular order. This is the Edwardian style top where I replaced the lace on the front, and I think I'm going to be wearing this today with something. 1890s shirtwaist dress style thing that I made recently. I'm actually kind of leaving some space in this whole lineup for some spontaneous making because I've wanted like a little vest type thing to go with this for quite a while, but it needs to be a very particular shape. It needs to be kind of cropped to go with this silhouette. So this is kind of in there as a placeholder. Oops. As a placeholder for that. I think this is the first full garment that I made on this channel. Kind of like an 18th century men's style shirt mixed with a vintage pattern. So I want to challenge myself to wear this at some point and style it up. This is the red pinafore that I just recently made, and I've already worn it a couple times, but I want to, find a new way to style it. This is the brown skirt that I recently made. Again, I've worn this a few times already, but just want to find a new way to style it. These are the Dorothea bodies that I made. This is one of my favorite things to style, so definitely gonna play around with that quite a bit. And then this is also one of the first things that I made on this channel. This is kind of like a medieval kirtle mixed with a vintage pattern, and I haven't worn this in a while, so yeah, want to figure out a way to style this in a new way. Also, it's that time of year where I'm just always cold, so I'm going to be layering all of this up, probably with like turtlenecks and stuff, which I think is actually a really helpful way to kind of incorporate more of these historical-ish elements into a modern wardrobe, is to layer it with things that are recognizably modern. So a turtleneck, a collared shirt, things like that, that will just kind of bring it away from that costumey place a little bit. I guess one of my little tips and tricks. And I don't know what order I'm gonna wear all of these in or really how I'm going to style them just yet, but it's kind of helpful for me to just know where this exercise is going. This is what I'm gonna wear today. This just kind of matches the day's activities really well. So now I just need to figure out what I am going to wear this with on the bottom. Oh yeah, I have 3 in-progress projects living in the studio right now, so pardon the mess. Authenticity, baby. I tucked the top into this gingham skirt, which is an offline make. The skirt and top have different kinds of texture and pattern, but because the top is a solid color and the skirt is a small regular print, the whole outfit has a good level of visual interest without being too much. To keep the look from being too choppy, I wore black tights and black Oxford style shoes. A long black knit jacket finished things off. Overall, I love this outfit. It's a little bit witchy, and we're kind of like just past that season. I feel like there's always some room for witchiness in the wardrobe, right? I thought that it might be kind of fun while we're doing this to kind of talk about like the status of some of these pieces, how much I wear them, how they've worked out, and so forth. And I have to say that this top has been one of my more successful makes that I've probably ever done. I wear this pretty often, probably once or twice a month. It had this really thick lace in it before, which was kind of scratchy and it was just not very nice. And so I switched it out for this much finer lace, which is great. but it does make this portion right here very sheer. And so like this right here is a camisole that you can see underneath. So I do have to be very careful with what I wear under this. So I'm running out right now, so I will see you guys tomorrow for our second look. I definitely think that there were some Robin Hood vibes kind of hanging out in the ether in the 1970s, and Monday's fit definitely played that up. I layered the denim kirtle that I made on top of another vintage homemade knit dress that had a woodland themed print. I added some shape with a vintage braided leather belt, and kept things cozy with tan knit tights and brown braided leather shoes. This is the second look. This is, again, one of the first things that I made on this channel, like a medieval kirtle mixed with a vintage pattern. Pretty happy with this dress. You can't really tell, well, maybe you can. This right here kind of peeks up a little bit. I usually try to kind of hide that area a little bit with like a collar or something, or a turtleneck, so that it's not really a focus. Another thing I'll say is that if you do have lacing that goes all the way down, lacing shifts around a little bit, and so sometimes it'll gape a little bit in some place that you don't want it to. If I were to make this again, I would probably put some sort of facing behind the lacing just to kind of help it to not peep out. The sun is coming out right now, which is awesome. This is like my favorite time of day, so I'm going to get to work. I'll see you later. I love the versatility of this pinafore and the way it can go from summer to autumn by adding a turtleneck underneath. I have 3 pairs of these tights, so yes, I can wear them multiple days in a row. I added black cotton Mary Janes and called it a comfy day. This dress is pretty easy. It's kind of just a one and done piece, but I am going to have to change out of this in just a little bit because I am probably going to be doing some knitting later on this evening, and I don't want to get this oily from the machine, so I'll be switching this out in a little bit, but you know, it's nice to have a cute outfit on in the morning when I'm working in the studio. I have a sweater that I haven't worn in a very long time that I think I want to make into like a cropped sweater vest to go on top of the 1890s shirtwaist dress. I have a very mixed relationship with upcycling. On one hand, I do enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun to deconstruct a garment and reimagine it. I've noticed that a lot of people tend to link upcycling with sustainability, and I just don't think that that's automatically the case. For example, if you go to, say, a Goodwill or, you know, a secondhand or a charity shop, and you buy a garment and you cut it up and you make it into a different garment, number one, that garment has already navigated the treacherous secondhand market, which is very difficult for a garment to do. To have a garment actually make it onto the rack where it can potentially be bought by someone else and enjoyed again as is kind of miraculous. That's not a landfill bound garment. That's a garment that is probably going to be purchased and enjoyed by someone else. Unless you're working in zero waste, you're probably throwing part of it away. You're putting additional time and resources into it. That being said, if you do buy something that is landfill bound, clothing that is soiled or, you know, ruined, unsellable, and upcycle that, great. If you take clothing that you have in your own closet that you're not wearing anymore and you turn it into something that you will wear again, great, because if you donate it, who knows if it's actually going to end up on a secondhand market shelf. Take that and do with it what you will. I wanted to preserve the rib start of the sweater, so I measured up from the bottom to crop from the top. I took my measurements to determine how much I wanted to crop and began by marking out the new shoulder slope by measuring down from the old shoulder slope. I honestly just eyeballed the back neck tip and cut. If you're doing something like this, you can probably just lay another garment on top of it like a t-shirt to get the correct shape. I cut a slightly lower front neck dip. I serged the shoulder seams. I cut a 1-inch strip from the sleeve and serged it to the arm and neck holes right sides together. I turned the strip to the inside so that all the rawness was hidden and fell stitched it in place by hand. You want to make sure your fell stitches are close together, probably closer than mine, and that you keep the tension loose, or you'll restrict the stretch of the knit and the neck hole won't fit over your head. Believe it or not, I actually have quite a bit of professional experience with knits, and this is maybe not the best showcase for that. I paired the newly cropped sweater vest with the 1890s shirtwaist dress I made, gray knit stockings, brown Doc Marten boots, and a groovy tie that used to be my mother's. The addition of the vest did help with the lab coat vibes the dress can give off. This dress is still pretty new, so I don't have too much to say about it. Let's just skip to the next day. I paired the brown skirt I made with a very Victorian Gap blouse that I thrifted from Depop. I added some unexpected socks and a pair of thrifted Michael Kors boots. Another tie from my mom to cap it off, and there you have it. 18th century Victorian chic with a side of medieval tapestry. I gave the tent-like dress some shape with a short corsety top I made a while back offline. I've made a few of these things, and they are very handy as an alternative to just belting things in. Some gray knit tights this time, and American Duchess pompadours. And of course, a cranberry beret on top. Again, not much to say about this gown. It works. I should wear it more often. Next. 100% I saved my favorite garment to style for last. I've been seeing a lot of folks styling sweaters in non-sweatery ways, layering them under overalls and stuff, so I wanted to try. I put the pair of bodies on top of this thrifted sweater from H&M that gives me Victorian cycling sweater vibes, and a pair of ribcage wide legs from Levi's that I've had forever. Bonus, I currently have a Coogie sweater that I thrifted and repaired, so I tried out a no pants look by layering a slip, the sweater, and the pair of bodies. Obviously, the second outfit is just an experiment. I mean, I think that it's cute enough, but it's not super comfortable, if I'm being honest. Feels like the bodies are kind of like forcing the sweater like into uncomfortable places. So I don't know how practical this is, but you know, it's fun to experiment sometimes though, right? So this pair of bodies, I have to say, is probably my favorite thing that I've ever made on this channel. The unfortunate thing is that I've actually lost this pattern, which is unusual for me. I'm usually pretty good about keeping my patterns organized. This one I have not, but I definitely want to make more of these bodies. I stopped the boning right here. I don't know why. Because there's not that piece going up, this happens. So on the next pair that I do, I will definitely add in that detail. So, oh yeah, and I would make them out of something other than white because I've had to wash these like 3 or 4 times now, and it's not easy. This was so much fun to do. I really love putting together outfits and giving myself prompts to spur on creativity. So this checked both boxes. I sometimes feel a bit self-conscious that my design voice isn't really coming through in some of these projects, or that things can get a bit random. I mean, for sure, some of my projects have been random, but it was nice to see that I can at least put together a cohesive week of fits out of my projects. If you enjoyed this video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and if you enjoy cozy styling videos, well, this is the only one I've made. But hit subscribe anyway, because there are some very exciting things, including one very random historical mashup project, coming up quickly. Bye!